Namaste everyone, Hari Om. We'll start. Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasanavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So last week we had started with our topic of Puranas. We just saw a small introduction to what are Puranas. Few people you have joined today for the first time. So last week's session recording has already been sent on the group. So those who have missed last session, ensure that you have listened to that recording. The reason I'm saying is, without knowing what exactly are Puranas, without understanding their background introduction, it makes no sense in attending all the other sessions. So in case anyone you have still not listened to the last session, ensure that you listen to the recording soon. Okay, so we will start. Now today also, I won't say for the entire 1 hour, but at least for some time we will continue to look at Puranas, because we have not actually finished the introduction. So we'll continue with the topic of Puranas. So mainly last time what we saw was what exactly are Puranas. Second, what are the 18 Puranas, the names of the 18 Puranas. There was also a small verse which will help us to remember the names of the 18 Puranas. And towards the end of the session, we also have looked at the categorization of Puranas into three types, that is Satvik Puranas, Rajasic Puranas and Tamasic Puranas. Now with regards to the, so we'll continue from there today. Now with regards to the categorization of Puranas that we have, I told you now, Satvik is their Vaishnava Puranas in praise of Lord Vishnu. Rajasic Puranas are related to Brahma, and Tamasic Puranas are related to Lord Shiva. And then all the 18 Puranas, they are categorized, they are divided into 666 into the 3 categories. But now here, depending on different references, based on different references, there can be some you cannot say that okay, the list that I told you last time, okay, these 6 are Vaishnava Puranas, next 6 are Shiva Puranas, and the remaining 6 are Brahma Puranas. In different references, sometimes there can be a few differences here and there, so nothing to worry on that. It depends on everyone's understanding how it is there. So as we had discussed last time also, we should not go by the name of a particular Purana, because Puranas are like encyclopedias. They don't deal with one topic alone, they don't talk about one person alone, they don't glorify about one Lord alone. So it is actually a mixture of various topics. Puranas are encyclopedic in nature, but still for our easy understanding, a few divisions have been made like this. So there can be like the 6 names that we discussed last time under each Puranas. Did I tell you the names? I don't remember. No, right? What exactly are Brahma Puranas? Did I say it? No, right? Okay.
You told only 18 Puranas.
Okay.
Name of the 18 Puranas.
So I'll tell you the exact thing today. But before that, just like a disclaimer, I'm saying, though for our understanding as per the references that I got and I went through, I found this division that is there. But of course, there can be a few ups and downs to it. But now with regards to this, we need not again feel confused, or a question should not come to our mind, what should I believe? Or if I believe this, it is wrong. If I believe this, is it correct, and so on. So there should be no place for doubts. Depending on different references in the course of time, things do change. So that is the reason these classification does change. Now things, maybe 50 years back things were different. Today things are different. Or forget about 50 years back, maybe the situation before the COVID times was different, now it is different. So just in a span of 2 years, the world has changed. So like this, even with regards to Puranas also, in the course of time, there are changes that do take place. Of course, the original matter will not be changed, but depending on everyone's understanding, the division into Vaishnava Puranas, Brahma Puranas and Shaiva Puranas might vary. So first I'll tell you today the list of all the three Puranas. I will share my screen so that you can see it directly. Now all this I will also share it on the group, so there is no reason to note down, but still if anyone you want to note down, you can do that. So just 1 second, I'll share my screen. You can, just for your information, you can note down. Okay. Now these are the list of Puranas as per this reference. So the Vaishnava Puranas include Vishnu Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, Matsya Purana, Garuda Purana and Srimad Bhagavata Purana. So if you see all these 6 Puranas, they have a close resemblance with Lord Vishnu. They are related to Lord Vishnu. Therefore, they are included in the list of Vaishnava Puranas. So this can be one understanding. Further, Brahma Puranas all related to Brahma. Brahma Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Agni Purana. Now Agni you cannot relate it to Shiva, Brahma or Vishnu. Therefore it has just been added to this list. Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana and Padma Purana. Now why Padma Purana has been included in the list of Brahma Puranas or Rajasic Puranas? The reason being, Padma actually means a lotus. In Sanskrit, Padmam, Kamalam, Aravindam, Sarojam, meaning lotus. So Padma Purana, Padmam. Now Brahma also, if you have ever seen Brahma, he always sits on a lotus. There is close resemblance, close association of Lord Brahma with a lotus. Or even his wife Saraswati, she always sits on a lotus. Therefore Brahma is associated with the lotus. That is the reason why. Now these are all again folklores that are there. You will not get a written evidence somewhere that okay, this is the reason why it has been included here. So therefore Padma Purana is included in the list of Brahma Purana. Further, Shiva Purana. Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, Kurma Purana, Markandeya Purana, Skanda Purana, Varaha Purana. Now you will notice here that there are two, Varaha and Kurma Purana. There are mainly these two Puranas. They are actually associated with Lord Vishnu. They are avatars, they are incarnations of Lord Vishnu. But in spite of that, why are they included in the list of Shiva Puranas? There are two reasons for this. One is, already 6 names have been filled in the Vishnu Purana. If you have seen the list, we have already filled the list, right? So we cannot add more to this. Because now some people will argue, why it should be limited only to 6? Let the Vaishnava Puranas be 8 in number, let the Shiva Puranas be just 4. That is fine, right? It will be easy to remember. But here, all this division, all this categorization has been done for our easy understanding and study, so that we can remember easily, okay, 6, 6, 6. That's how the division is done. So they cannot play with the numbers there. The number has to be kept constant. This is one reason. Therefore, 6 Puranas have been included related to Vishnu. So whatever remains, let us add in the Shiva Puranas. This is one logic. Now there is one more logic behind this. That is the reason being, mainly Kurma Purana. Kurma Purana talks about a lot of Shiva, of Lord Shiva, or many stories and things that are closely associated with Lord Shiva. So that is one more reason why Kurma Purana has been included in the list of Shiva Puranas. So this is one more explanation. Now when we look at Kurma Purana in detail, I'll tell you more. But now you can note down that Kurma Purana talks about the unity of Shaivism and Vaishnavism. And in fact, there is a verse in the Kurma Purana also, in other references also, I have told you quite a few times that it is mentioned in the Kurma Purana that the greatest devotee of Lord Shiva is Lord Vishnu and the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu is Lord Shiva. So I also have that reference I will share on the group. So this is what has been mentioned in the Kurma Purana there. So this is one reason why the Kurma Purana shows a lot of semblance between Vaishnavism and Shaivism and the worship of Lord Shiva and Vishnu. So again, this shuts the mouth of all who talk about I am a Shiva devotee, I am a Vishnu devotee, he is a Shiva devotee, but I am a Vaishnavite, so I will not talk to him, and vice versa. So this clears all doubts, saying that people who have these, we have so-called inter-religious fights and debates going on. We fight between castes, so-called caste system, religion, or worship, and so on. All that is man-made. People go about bit out of context, but still I'm sharing because people blame our scriptures, our culture, our people, and we let us not talk about even foreigners or people from outside. We ourselves blame each other, right? We ourselves say no, there's so much of discrimination everywhere, so much of troubles in India. We ourselves keep names. There are so many people we find it's not wrong, but then they say no, living in India is not good. I want to go somewhere outside and live. What is there in our country? I want to go outside and do something. You go outside, no doubt about it. But we ourselves are talking bad about our culture, our scriptures. Reason being, we don't know about that. That is the only reason why we talk in this way. Otherwise, everything has been mentioned here. Now, why people talk? Why do people have fights between Shaivism and Vaishnavism? Because they have not studied Kurma Purana. Because they don't know stories of Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva himself declares that he himself in the Vishnu Sahasranama, just today some reference came, I was talking about Shiva himself. If you see in the Vishnu Sahasranama, 4th shloka, Sarva Sharva Shivasthanur Shivaha. Shivaha is another name for Lord Vishnu. So there Parvati asks Shiva, right? Okay, now this is going out of topic, okay, but I'll share. So Shiva is all auspiciousness or purity. Shivam we say, Shivam, Satyam, Sundaram. Shivam is Mangalam, auspiciousness. Shubham, people are named, boys are named as Shivam and Shubham, meaning auspiciousness. So then there Parvati questions Shiva. She asks him, what is Shivam in you? Now Shiva, we know, if you even look at Shiva, he's not very pleasing to look at, right? He just wears a Gajavastra, maybe just a piece of cloth around his body. Is Jatadhari, lives in Kailasa, Smashanavasi, lives in the crematorium. He applies the bhasma all over his body. So thinks he has Bhutaganas, they are not normal human beings again, mixture of so-called animals and humans. So not very pleasing to look at. So what is Shivam, what is Mangalam, what is auspiciousness in you? You are living in a Smashana. Parvati questions Shiva. Shiva says, what makes me pure is, that's because I am chanting the names of Lord Vishnu, one name, and that's how I've got this name Shivaha. Vishnu, now when we look at the image of Vishnu, Vishnu is always pleasing to look at, always decked up to down, right? Abhisheka Priya Shivaha, Alankara Priya Vishnu, right? Pitambara, jewels, this, that. So Vishnu is always good to look at. So there Shiva says, I'm very happy because I'm always chanting the names of Lord Vishnu. That's the reason I'm always in meditation. When people ask what you do in meditation, Parvati herself has questioned Shiva so many times. You're always meditating. What do you meditate? Right? There he gives an answer to her saying that I'm meditating on Lord Vishnu. That's how Shiva has got one name. Vishnu has got one name for him that comes in the Vishnu Sahasranama, that is Shivaha, meaning auspiciousness. I keep chanting that name always. That's how I myself have got this name as Shivaha. Very, very beautiful answer that he gives. Again, take the reference of Ramayana. Rama goes about the famous Rameshwara temple. All of us, we go there, do all our Pitrukarma, Rameshwaram. Rama says, Ramasya Ishwaraha, Rameshwaraha. Lord of Rama is the Shiva there called Rameshwara. Shiva did not like that. He says, Ramaha Yasya Ishwaraha, Rameshwaraha. One whose Lord is Rama, that is me, Rameshwara. So like this, there are so many references which we can find. Or you take the Gita 4th chapter, I think verse number 35, if I am not wrong. I'm just giving you references so that you can open and see. Wherein he talks about the Varna system. There Krishna clearly mentions to Arjuna that I have divided the society into 4 parts for easy living. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Today we associate these 4 into religions. It has got nothing to do with religions. It's got just to do with different professions. Today we have got so many professions. We have teachers, doctors, engineers, and so many new things coming up. Content developers and so on, right? Coders. But in a small system in those days, in a small village or so, to take care of everything. Now the administration remains the same. Whether you live in a big country, in a big city, or in a small village, people are the same. the facilities that are needed are the same, right? So to take care of everything is needed. So, but in a city or in a country, things are easy because there are different ministries, different departments. In a small village, it doesn't happen so. So therefore, Krishna said that I established this system because Brahmanas or the learned class who practice the profession of teaching, they are Brahmanas. Let them impart the knowledge through Vedas, our scriptures, all that. Second is Kshatriyas, the king or the royal people. Let them protect our kingdom. They are responsible for protecting the area, be it a village, town, or so. Third is Vaishyas or the business class. So they indulge in either agriculture, animal husbandry, whatever was available in the village, farming or dairy products. Last is Shudras. Shudras are the people who must take care of the sanitation part. And we know the sanitation, the cleaning part, the housekeeping so called, right? Now we all work in big companies. There we don't call the people who clean there, we call them the housekeeping staff, right? They're given a lot of respect there. It's the same thing. The maid who comes to our house, we don't call her the housekeeping staff. So it's just the attitude that matters. People are the same. They're doing the same kind of work. Tomorrow if we clean our house, doesn't mean that we are Shudras, right? So Shudras, Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, they are not given to some people associated with a particular religion or a particular dharma. Okay, you do this kind of work, so you are named as so. I think we had the recent controversy in news also with regards to the Ramcharitamanas, right? So like this, of course, it's all deviating from our main topic, but the point I'm trying to say is, as Lord Krishna has mentioned in the Gita also, Chaturvaranyamaya Srishtam and so on, the words that goes about in chapter 4, that has given clear reference. So there is nothing to fight again with regards to caste system and so on. So what today we understand and what has been mentioned there is quite different. Krishna himself was born in the Yadava clan. Yadava clan, they used to deal with dairy products, and Rama himself was a Kshatriya. So again, Krishna has said so he talks about religious discrimination, this and that. All this is man-made. All problems are created by man. Our scriptures do not promote this. Again, coming back to our main topic, same with regards to Puranas. So that is the reason why Kurma Purana is included in the list of Shiva Puranas or Tamasic Puranas, because it talks about many stories with regards to Lord Shiva also. Though the name Kurma, second avatara of Lord Vishnu in the Dashavataras, but still it gives a lot of reference to Shiva and many stories and Shiva temples. It also shows the unity between Shiva and Vishnu, and there is a verse there that shows wherein Shiva declares that I am the greatest devotee of Vishnu, and Vishnu declares I am the greatest devotee of Shiva. So like this there are many instances. So the point what I wanted to say is, through all these small references that I told you, though it is not directly related to the Puranas, why I told you so much is everything has been mentioned everywhere. It is our duty to open the books and check out. Our duty how we interpret it. If you interpret it wrongly, everything goes about wrong. If you take it in a good way, everything starts making sense. Okay, so till here everyone, did you understand? Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Very clear.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Ah.
ma'am,
Yes.
as you're talking about Gita,
Hmm.
I have a doubt.
Hmm.
I have a doubt that why is Krishna telling Arjuna all the shlokas?
Why is Krishna telling Arjuna all the shlokas? Reason being, Krishna asks him the question, so he is telling Arjuna. Krishna is confused. Arjuna is confused. He does not know what to do in the battlefield. He says, I do not want to fight the war. Therefore, he is questioning. He is asking his friend Krishna, what should I do now? He says, I don't want to fight the war. I want to go away. So Krishna makes him understand through the 18 chapters that you should not do that. That is the reason. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So these are the 18 Puranas that are divided into different categories. Now here, as I told you, there can be like few ups and downs. Like for example, Shiva Purana, maybe one or two, like Kurma Purana, Varaha Purana, because they are associated with Vishnu, they can be added in the list of Vaishnava Puranas. 2 from there can come down. So like this, here as per different references, there can be differences. Now the next question that should come to all of our minds is, why was the need of Puranas? If you remember in the last session, I told you that there are different parts of literature. First is the Vedas, then the Vedangas, then you have the Itihasas, that is Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the last is
Ma'am,
Puranas.
Lakshmi, ma'am, one
Yeah.
small thing. This Bhavishya Purana of Brahma Purana, does it relate to astrology or forecast?
Yes, there are Jyotisha references are there in many Puranas. When we look at each Purana in detail, I'll tell you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is not now, as you said, Jyotisha Shastram is not limited to one Purana alone. There are different references. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now the first question that should come to all of our minds is, we have the Vedas, we have the Vedangas, we have the Itihasas. And we say that Vedas is the base of everything. In the Gita also it comes, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopananandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Mritam Mahat. Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. The Upanishads are selling the same thing. What is the need of the Gita if it is also going to talk about the same thing? Similarly here, what is the need of Puranas when we have the Vedas? Vedas are being talked about. The same topics are being dealt by. What is the need to even study that, right? This is a question. Now for this, there is a reason. Now reasons also we should know. Why I am learning something? No, it is a part of literature, so I am learning. That should not be this thing. That there is a reason for everything. That's what I am trying to say. Now with regards to the Vedas, if you see, now Vedas are not studied by everyone. This is one thing. And today, in our society also, if you see, out of 10 people, maybe 1 or 2 people are studying the Vedas, but maybe the remaining people, not Puranas, but at least a few stories from mythology. Or about, if you say, consider now people in our class also, about 80 people of us. Out of that, there might be maybe 10% who know a bit about Vedas, but almost everyone will know about Ramayana. What is the reason for this? There's nothing wrong to show that, okay, I know better or someone knows more, I know less. No. Everything is the same. But why it happens so? The reason being, the Itihasas and Puranas are more story based. And the Vedas are more philosophically based. Philosophically, or they just directly tell the principles and go about. Whereas in the Puranas and Ramayana Mahabharata, because things are in the story form, it becomes more easy to understand for the masses, it becomes more clear and it becomes more interesting. I'll give you a simple example for this. All of us in school, we have something called definitions, right? Now the definition that is there, especially in science, you have some definitions that have to be written. So in exam, what the teacher usually tells us is, you have to by heart the definitions, you have to write the definition as it is. From the textbook or the notes, whatever if she provides, we have to write it as it is. Even one word goes up and down, marks are cut, right? Vedas are like definitions. What has been told, it's directly stated. There is no why, or it is not elaborated further. But many times we notice that just by reading the definition, we don't understand. Okay, this is so and so, or Newton's law, Newton's 3 laws of gravity, laws of motion, we don't understand. But that is why in most of our answers that we used to write as school children, you see, after every definition, we used to write an example. So if you write an example, I am talking about the usual schools, I don't know about today's schools that are there, the international or other boards, I'm talking about the normal boards that are there. So we used to write the definition, and then the teacher used to say, if you write with 1 or 2 examples, you will get some extra marks, right? So along with the definition, we used to include 1 or 2 examples. Puranas are like examples. So when we read something, you read the definition. Along with that, when we read the examples, we understand better. Maybe by just reading the definition, we don't get it. But after reading the examples, the concept becomes clear. So, same thing for the Vedas and Puranas also. Vedas are like definitions. But it does not get clear in the first phase, or not all people can understand. Therefore, Puranas are like examples which help us in understanding the Vedas or the main definition more nicely. So here, this doesn't mean that, okay, I will study only the Vedas or I will study only the Puranas. Study of both is important. We study both the definition and the examples. Both are needed. So study of both is equally important, but with examples, it becomes more easy. That is why the need of Puranas was, you can say it was realized by Vyasa. That is the reason why he compiled all the Puranas into the different 18 Puranas. so that it can be understood by the masses equally. It can be understood by even the common people. Now if you are also, if I come and if I just sit and tell you, okay, Vyasa is so, he has written the 18 Puranas, this is the shlokas that are there. If I just keeping very theoretically, if I start speaking, if I don't elaborate, now even I can also just show you, right? Okay, this is a Purana, this is the link that is there, just go through this, read this, these are about Puranas, that's it. This all of us can do. But why? Now one more example I'll give you. Now all of us know there are 18 Puranas, right? What are the 18 Puranas? Have I invented something new? No. I'm going to talk about the same thing which is there. Today we have books on the 18 Puranas. We also have Google, other technology that is there. We listen to so many people talking about 18 Puranas. So there is nothing new. Everything is already there. But still, why have all of you joined the class? We need someone, maybe, now I'm not saying I can, if I do full justice to it, but we need someone who can elaborate more on it, who can maybe speak in an easy language, who can maybe make us understand well, so that everything is there. But that is the reason why we go to school, right? Otherwise you can buy the textbook from the shop and also read, but no, we have to go to school. We need someone who teaches us, who tells us things, right? Just one minute.
Read the Puranas, all these things through the net, all these things, but who will explain? If we have a doubt, means we can ask the
Yes,
Guru, no?
surely, that's what. So that's a reason why the importance of someone or importance of telling something easily was realized. So that is the reason why Vyasa thought that Vedas are there, that is, or even I have written the Mahabharata, but it is very, very difficult. Even now Vedas are there. Next he thought, okay, Mahabharata also has been written, but still he felt that not everyone can understand everything. Therefore the need of Puranas came, and that is the reason why Vyasa is responsible for compiling the Puranas. Or he was a person why he compiled all the Puranas together. Now even from that also you see, it's not that everything everyone can understand, right? Now what exactly the 18 Puranas contain, to some extent whatever I know I am sharing, but that doesn't mean that all of us we are scholars here. Even that also becomes difficult. But all these people whom we have, philosophers or sages like Vyasa, or even Adi Shankaracharya also for the same matter, he has written philosophical texts, Viveka Chudamani, so many bhashyas he has written, commentaries, Gita Bhashya, on all the Upanishads he has written commentaries, he has written commentaries on the Vishnu Sahasranama. Everything is very, very philosophical. But later he realized that if I write only things that are philosophical or very tough, very difficult for people to understand, maybe out of 100 people, 10 people will go and read it. In that 5 will give up in the middle saying that I am not understanding anything. What about all the other people, all the other 95 people or 90 people who are there? For them I have to write something that is easy, which they can understand. That is the reason why he started writing Stotra Vangmayam, different stotras starting from Ganesha Pancharatnam. Now how many of us, all of us, we know Ganesha Pancharatnam. Who knows Viveka Chudamani? Both are important. That doesn't mean that we don't read Viveka Chudamani because it is difficult. Everything is important. But directly the child cannot go to 10th class. He has to go first, second, third, 2 different stages. Therefore, knowing about what people can understand, based on that all our literature, all our scriptures have been divided and segregated properly. So this is the reason why Puranas were even introduced, why we have to study the Puranas. Okay. Now next. Now there are...
Ma'am?
Yes, Purva, I saw your question. I'll answer it towards the end. Okay, let's finish this. I'll answer it towards the end. Okay. Now there are 5 categories of Puranas, or what exactly do the Puranas contain? It is called as Pancha Lakshanas. Pancha Lakshanas. Or Pancha Lakshanas, or you can say 5 signs of what exactly is a Purana. First is Sargascha or Sargaha. Now, Pancha Lakshanas mainly help us in telling what exactly are the contents of Puranas. What do the Puranas contain? If someone comes and asks you, what is a storyline or what exactly are Puranas? We cannot just give one answer, stories. Stories, okay, what else? They are not only stories. So this gives an answer. Sargaha, meaning creation. Creation of the world. Starting from how the world was created, from so on. That is, right from the beginning, all the references are mentioned in the Puranas. First is Sargaha. Pratisargashta. Pratisargashta is, in between we have different periods, different yugas. For example, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, current Yuga, Kali Yuga. Now all this reference, the exact time period, everything you will get in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. So why I am saying is, we should not just feel everything is just mythological in nature, right? Okay, someone just comes, it's not fairy tales. All exact year duration. Now Kali Yuga is approximately 4 lakh years or so. Rough figure I'm telling. We have not even completed a quarter. We are still, that's why in the Sankalpa, whenever you attend some pujas, marriages and so on, you have the priest chanting Vaivasvata Manvantare Ashtavigumshati Tame Kali Yuge Prathame Pate Prathame Pate Prathame is the first part. We are still in the first part. Now whenever the priest chants such mantras, we cannot make the meanings out of it. Reason being, we don't know. But now when you are learning about the Puranas, when we learn about our scriptures, when we know that okay, Kali Yuga has been divided in such a time period, that is when, and we know about different Manvantaras. You see Vamsho Manvantarani. Next is Manvantaras are different time periods. Manu. So at that time, when we study at least on a basic level, things start making sense. So just the priest comes, he chants something and goes away. No. Now when we know the meaning, we know the essence, we know the significance of why even such things have been told. Sargaha creation. This is one question. This is one part. Second is Prati Sargaha talking about different periods. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, we had Rama during that time. Dwapara Yuga, we had Krishna. Current is Kali Yuga, where all of us are living. And then again the universe is recreated. That is the Pralayam. Now what is the Pralayam? Now it is said that after the 4 yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, again it starts with Satya Yuga. So towards the end of Kali Yuga, it is said that everything will be destroyed. Then a new world is created. That is Pralayam. That is nothing but the recreation of the universe. Now, you need not feel that this is something, it sounds very unreal. We get some geographical significance to it. All of us, we have studied something in geography called the Big Bang theory, right? What exactly is the Big Bang theory? Some planets or some heavenly bodies, they collide with each other, right? And then that's how different planets are created. They go about here and there. And if you see some geography channels also, they will show you those videos. So that's how the universe is created. That's how they believe. Different Milky Way, different galaxies are created, different solar systems are created. Same thing has been mentioned in our books also, but with a religious aspect. I'll not say religious aspect, maybe with a historical aspect also. And there it is mentioned with a geographical aspect. That is the only difference. So just because we have not seen that, maybe all of us in Kali Yuga, maybe we might take birth 10 times, right? We live only for 100 years. Kali Yuga is 4 lakh years. So maybe towards the end of the Kali Yuga, when the world actually gets destroyed, we might be there. Or maybe during our previous births also. We don't remember about our previous births. We don't remember what happened today morning. Forget about things that happened in our last birth, right? So we don't know, we might have seen before also. But this is the recreation of the universe. Why I'm telling you this is, just because we don't know about things or we have not seen things, we cannot come to conclusions that all of this is false. If something is false, it will have not reached till date. I'll give you one example for this. Now that doesn't mean that we have to believe in everything. Now Puranas, someone says, okay, there are 18 Puranas. Why should I believe in the Puranas? Okay, they are just books. I'll just read it for my knowledge, that's it. But it's not needed that I should believe that okay, each and everything that has been told in it can be true. Or even the Ramayana for that matter, Mahabharata for that matter. Who has seen Rama? Why should I believe that Rama was there? Who has seen Krishna? I have never seen. Why should I believe? This can be a question, right? It's a very, very practical question. But before we jump on to the conclusion that all this is unreal, when we say that all this is not real, at the same time we cannot say that all this is false also, because you don't have any proof to prove that all this is false. Only one proof we have, I have not seen. You are born few years back, how will you see? You don't know whether you were there in Ramayana times, right? But as per, so still we are in the confusion whether things are real or really happened or they have not happened. So we cannot jump to any conclusion. But as per references and research happened till date, the proofs or evidences for Ramayana, Mahabharata and the Puranas to exist are true. I'll give you a few references that are there. Puranas have been written lakhs and thousands, let us not consider lakhs, thousands of years ago. There are so many things that happen in our lives, maybe 2 years back, 3 years back, we forget in the course of time, right? Does it even reach till us? No. But you imagine all our books, right, from the Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, all this has been written thousands of years ago. If till date they have reached us, that means surely there is some significance to it. In the course of time, we lose so many things. We don't remember things, right? Something happened 5 years back, 10 years back, I don't remember. Or even last week what happened, I don't remember today. In the course of time, we forget things. But things, if something has survived till date, there would be surely some significance to this. We cannot just call it as blind faith or blind belief. It just has passed on in the course of time. We cannot do that. And apart from this, with regards to the Ramayana, Mahabharata, we have so many people, historians and so researching. This is the place where Rama lived. Even today, we find the places mentioned in the Ramayana. Chitrakuta, Panchavati, Nasik, Chitrakuta. Yeah, that. Ayodhya, he was living in Ayodhya. Sita was in Mithila, which is in today's Nepal. You read the Valmiki Ramayana, you'll get thousands of references which try to prove to some extent that Ramayana is true. So that is not a topic to prove whether something is real or so, but there should be no doubt in our mind that whatever I'm reading, it's not a fairy tale or something. Okay, someone has come and told, I don't have anything in life to do, so weekend every night 1 hour I'll sit to someone and listen. I don't even know whether something is real or unreal. This should not be the thought. Or this is one reason. Secondly, today we have many people who come and question us, especially it might be your own children, your grandchildren, youngsters, anyone. Or we have this problem that youngsters don't listen to us today, right? If you give them proper answers, they will be interested. They will surely listen, right? If you just drive them away, saying that no, this is how it is, don't ask me anything, who will come and listen? 50 years down the lane, I listened to my father when he gave me such an answer. We cannot expect the same from our children, right? So it is not just because someone comes and questions us, but in our own minds, we should not have any questions. That is the reason I told you this. So second is Pratisargaha. Third is Vamshaha. Vamshaha literally means family dynasty or different dynasties that are there. So Vamshanuvali. Again, if you take the reference of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the references of kings Soma Vamsha, Surya Vamsha. That is the Krishna's Yadava's clan entire and Rama's clan, Surya Vamshaha. Surya Vamshaha. All the ancestors of Rama with stories to them, who were the ancestors of Rama. Similarly, who were the ancestors of Sita. Everything has been mentioned in the course of time. That is all Vamshanuvali or Vamshaha. So Puranas also contain these different dynasties. Again of rishis, gods, kings and so on. Fourth is Manvantarani. Manvantarani. These are different cycles as I told you. Vaivaswata Manvantare. For us the current Manvantara is Vaivaswata. So these are not exactly as a Manvantara. Manvantara is a time period. There are different cycles. For every yuga, it is like every Manvantara almost lasts for about, you can consider about 4 billion years or so, roughly. Okay. So in the course of time, for different yugas, let us one Manvantara rules over different yugas. So for example, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga is one Manvantara, Vaivaswata Manvantare. So almost you can consider about 30 crore years or roughly 4 billion years. So like this is a time period of Manvantaras. So you see all this information has been mentioned again in different Puranas. One is Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Here again, if so much of detail, that too in numerical values, if something is mentioned, we cannot again question that and argue saying that whether it is really true or so. If things are false or fantasy, there will be no numbers to it. Roughly about this we say, right? It's not so. Everything is mentioned in detail. Only thing is we will fall short, and that too if people are weak like me in maths, we'll end up getting frustrated and not do any calculation, right? So again, this is Vamshaha. Next is Manvantarani. Manvantarani is Manu, the first man who rules over a certain period of time. Now this Manu, some people relate to Adam and Eve, first man, first woman. you would read in different stories, folk tales or so. We read as young children, you would have read about Adam and Eve, right? Same thing is somewhat related to Manu also. In Hinduism, we relate to the same person as Manu. And next, last is Vamshanucharitam. Vamshanucharitam. Vamshanucharitam meaning dynasties or the historical accounts of royal dynasties. That means what did a particular Vamsha do? We had so many kings, so many dynasties ruling over us. Now here, we know only about the Britishers and Mughals coming in. But there have been different Indian dynasties, Indian kings also before that, ruling us, the Cholas, Pallavas, Satyavahanas, Chalukyas and so on. Those who have studied history, you'll know. So detailed information of all of them also are the contents of the Puranas. So the 5 Panchalakshanani Puranas, Sargashcha, Pratisargashcha, Vamshaha, Manvantarani and Vamshanucharitam. So detailed information of all this. Now these are the main signs. Okay, these are the main signs of Puranas, that what exactly the Puranas deal with. But there are, mute yourself. Yeah. But there are many more topics that are also dealt with Puranas. But mainly, someone asks, what do the Puranas talk about? These are the main things that can be told about. Now, next question again. What, apart from this, what exactly do the Puranas deal with? This answer is given by the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Srimad Bhagavata Purana tells that apart from this 5, there are 5 more things that the Bhagavata Purana talks about. That is different tales of gods, that is different stories with regards to gods. Then it talks about sages, kings, gods and living beings also in those times. That's why those who have read the Srimad Bhagavata, we see that different stories of gods, their devotees and so on. So far we can say mythological stories that are there, or stories with regards to different sages and gods. These are also the contents of the Puranas. Then a few topics, a few philosophical topics like moksha or liberation is also dealt in Puranas. So the Srimad Bhagavata adds a few more contents, few more things to this list of what exactly the Puranas contain. Further, we see that all the Puranas are said to be Suhrit Samhitas. Suhrit Samhitas. What is Suhrit? Suhrit in Sanskrit, Suhrit, H-R. Suhrit literally means a friend in Sanskrit. So, Puranas are said to be friendly texts or friendly treatises. The reason being, we all, now all of us in general, we all like to read stories, or people, if you have come here, I assume that all of you like to listen or read to stories, right? Listen or read stories. So, Puranas are said to be friendly texts. The reason being, nobody will fear from Puranas, or what is this, I'm not understanding anything. There will be no one who says this. That is the reason Puranas are called Suhrit Samhitas or friendly treatises or friendly texts. That is because everyone, it's very, you can say easily you can read them, you can easily understand the stories and get a lot of information. That is why people prefer Puranas to read. And it is said that the Puranas, they, by telling us different stories of gods, philosophies, religion, and also being encyclopedic in nature, they deal with a lot of topics. Puranas deal with a lot of topics. So it tries to satisfy each and every human being as per their own interests. Now there might be a few people who like history. There might be someone who likes geography. Someone might like just mythology. Someone might like just to know about the different accounts or the ancestors of a particular dynasty. You ask, and that is there in the Puranas. So depending on our interest, on what we like, depending on our taste of reading, you can choose anything and you can read. So the Puranas will never make us unhappy saying that, okay, I deal only with this, you have, if you want, you have to read this. No. So depending on our interest, whatever we like, we can read. So that is why Puranas, it's like they tell us stories in a very nice way, in a very easy way, and that's why it makes us more interesting. But at the same time, we have to note one thing, that though the Puranas delve about different topics, like I told you, history, geography, astrology, about the universe, cosmology and so on, it doesn't mean that it deviates from the main topic. Like, it will not have some contradictory views saying that something is mentioned in the Ramayana, Mahabharata, or in the Vedas. Or in the Vedas, okay, we say, okay, God is this, God is Brahman, God is supreme. It will not tell the exact opposite. There might be a few controversies, few small conflicts that are there. That is, of course, in the course of time, there are different understandings. Things do change, or the way of understanding, way of thinking changes. That might be there, but it doesn't mean that Puranas, like they talk about these different stories. Or sometimes when we read the Puranas, like for example, the Srimad Bhagavata Purana also, there are a few topics which, when you read a particular story, it makes no sense. Like it will be just like we say, so boring stories, or a few movies when we go about, the climax would be so bad, and even the entire movie story also, the plot is very very slow, and then after watching the movie we declare what a slow movie, or just a waste of time and money, right? So the many movies or many books when we read, sometimes the story plot is very bad. Like there will be no story only, it's just that we are just whiling away our time. And then after reading or after watching the movie, we declare that this nonsense, I wasted a lot of time. So with regards to Puranas also, sometimes it might happen this way, that it just be a mere elaboration. It would not be needed, but still lot of metaphors and lot of similes will be added, lot of description. Maybe they'll just be talking about a forest, but maybe 2-3 chapters will be dealing how the forest looks, how is the tree, how are the leaves. Then it gets very boring. We say, okay, when is this topic ending, right? So though such topics are also there in the Puranas, wherein we feel that okay, it's not talking about anything, it is just pure description, but still the Puranas do not deviate from the main topic. They stick to the part that they try to show the values of the Vedas, they show a few stories from the Ramayana, Mahabharata, so they stick to the main topic. If they say that Puranas are also, they delve with the Vedas, a few topics, the teachings of the Vedas have been portrayed in the Puranas in an easy manner through stories. So they truly show that. It doesn't mean that any story out of somewhere has been picked up and put in. It is not so. Puranas also stick to the main topic. Now there are mainly in the Puranas, now who reads the Puranas? Like all of us also, as a part of religious practices, we have the Ramayana that is read. Maybe we have the Ram Navami coming up, so many people read the Ramayana. The original Mahabharata is not read, of course, but in many places, but still there are a few places where the original Mahabharata is read. Especially, I think in Tirupati it is read every day. It is read. It is also shown live on TV, and they read the Mahabharata there every day. But from the Mahabharata, many things we do. For example, the Gita and also the Vishnu Sahasranam. So we do chant that. Ramayana, I told you, people read. Vedas, people chant. But with regards to the Puranas, except for Srimad Bhagavata Purana, we don't see much of Puranas. Like nobody will say that I'm reading a Purana. So in some places, of course, Vishnu Purana is read. But apart from that, Puranas are not much considered to be Vedic religious literature. Like though they delve with different topics, except the Srimad Bhagavata Purana, that too there is a story. Why Srimad Bhagavata Purana has got so much of importance? The reason is, towards the end of Dwapara Yuga, when Krishna was ending his avatara, at that time he had a discussion with his childhood friend Uddhava. So Uddhava there cries about, saying that now if you leave, then it will be the start of Kali Yuga, everything will be bad, then how will the world survive? The world needs you. So at that time, Krishna says that I'm not leaving the world and going, though my physical form goes away, you cannot see me in the physical form of Krishna. I will reside and live in this book of Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's how he merges into the Srimad Bhagavatam book. That is the reason why the Srimad Bhagavata has attained a lot of religious importance. Reason being, people consider the Srimad Bhagavatam book to be a form of Krishna only. That is why many people, yes, correct. So that is why many people, what we do is, we keep the Srimad Bhagavatam book, Ramayana books and so on in our puja room itself, and we offer worship. This is done one thing. Or just like someone mentioned, the Satyanarayana Vrata, that is done by reading the Skanda Purana. So like this, there are few, for example, even the Ganesh Chaturthi Puja or the Navratri Puja, the Dasera Puja, all this has been mentioned in the Puranas. or only that particular part. For example, as he said, the Satyanarayana Vrata. We read only that portion that is there, right? So we don't read the entire Purana as such. The entire Puranas, they are not considered to be a part of religious books. So that doesn't mean that they are not a part of religion. So then who reads it? Though all of us commonly we don't read it, but even today in India, we find this is mainly practiced in the Bhakti Yoga tradition. All of us usually we practice Karma Yoga, right? We do good things or whatever is done in the society, we follow that. But there are a few people who belong to the, or we had a period in history called the Bhakti movement, right? Or even today we have a few organizations like ISKCON or what else? Mainly ISKCON. If you go to ISKCON now, I'm not saying that they read the Puranas, I don't think so much except the Srimad Bhagavata, but they keep chanting the names of the Lord. That is a part of Bhakti movement, or they promote Bhakti Yoga, meaning for them chanting the Maha Mantra is a way of Bhakti, or that is only, you can say, the most important form of worship for them, or that is only practice that they do. So like this, Puranas are religious texts of people who practice Bhakti Yoga mainly. So it's not very commonly practiced, but yes, there are people who preserve all the books of the Puranas at home as a part of in their puja room, as we do for the books of Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam and so on. So mainly for this, the Bhagavata Purana is only kept apart from all other Puranas, because mainly the Bhagavata Purana talks about Bhakti Yoga, that is devotion towards Lord Krishna, and the different steps and different practices, how Bhakti Yoga is done. So mainly Bhagavata Purana promotes Bhakti Yoga. Now further, Puranas, they also describe a lot about Hinduism, how Hindu Dharma grew, then the society as it was in Vedic times, then the post-Vedic times, pre-Vedic times, historical times. So we have different time periods in history, right? So how was the society in those times? What were the people doing there? What was the occupation of the people? How are they engaged? So all this description also is given in the Puranas. Further, Puranas are one. Then again, a lot of social customs, religious practices, like the celebration of festivals, or during a particular festival what has to be done. For example, the Satyanarayana Vrata, a particular topic has to be chanted. We have the Ganesh Chaturthi Puja, particular thing has to be done. In fact, the Ganesh Chaturthi festival that has become famous, especially in central India and all other parts also, it is because of the Puranas, because it has got a lot of reference in the Puranas. Then different methods of yoga, for example Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama Asana, that has also been dealt with Patanjali Maharshi's Ashtanga Yoga, different practices of practicing different practices of yoga, that has also been mentioned in the Puranas. Then a lot of information about different religious ceremonies like marriage, Upanayana and so on, that has also been mentioned in the Puranas. So though these Panchalakshanani's are there are also many more like this. We can consider them to be side topics, but there are different topics that Puranas also deal with. Now, what was the purpose? I told you why Puranas were there, and even till date why people, or even why today why are we even discussing about the Puranas? Reason being, Puranas are easy, one is easily accessible. Then for man, woman, child, for everyone it is common. This is one thing that is there. Because the incidents, or because all the information is told in the form of stories, right from young children till old people, everyone likes stories, right? And it will be relatable to everyone. So that is the importance of Puranas, and that is the reason why it is easily accessible. So whoever wants to read, you can pick up a Purana and you can read it. So this is one more speciality, or you can say a characteristic feature of the Puranas, that it is accessible by everyone. There is no restrictions, or there is no question of availability, or what can I understand. For example, a few topics young children cannot read, they will not understand. You tell a 4-year-old child, study the meanings of the Gita, you can just tell him it is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Maybe you can teach a few shlokas of the Gita, not more than that. If maybe start telling the meanings of the Gita in a very philosophical way, elders also cannot understand. Can we expect that from a child? No. But in the case of Puranas, it is not so, because the language, the literature is put in the form of stories. Now, in all, there are 18 Puranas we have seen, but there are also a few Upapuranas. Now there is something called Upapuranas also, and we'll just discuss a bit about that and then we will stop for today. Now what exactly are the Upapuranas? I will just share my screen. You can see that. This is a list of, just 1 minute, let me finish, then you can ask. 18 Upapuranas. What exactly are the Upapuranas? 18 Upapuranas. Now, though we are going to see in detail about the 18 Puranas, still we should know what are Upapuranas. Upapuranas are like, they are developed in later times or not qualified to be a major Purana, not very popular, but yes, they are also Puranas. Sanat Kumara Purana, Narasimha Purana, Brihan Naradiya Purana. Narada Purana we have Brihan Naradi. Shiva Rahasya Purana. Durvasa Purana, Kapila Purana, Vamana Purana, Bhargava, Varuna, Kalika or Kalika, Samba, Nandi, Surya, Parashara, Vasishta. Devi Bhagavatam has become now famous. It is similar to Srimad Bhagavatam. It also contains 18,000 verses and mainly it tells about different worships with regards to Devi practice, with regards to, and different stories with regards to the goddess. Now some people get confused. Devi Mahatmyam or the Durga Saptashati is a part of Devi Bhagavatam. No, Devi Bhagavatam is different. Does anyone know Durga Saptashati is part of which Purana?
Markandeya Purana.
Iti Shri Markandeya Purane. Get that towards the end. Lalita Sahasranama? Brahmanda Purana. Conversation between whom?
Agastya.
Very nice. Sarve Panditaha. Uttam. Hayagriva Agastya Samvade. So again we have gems like this from the Puranas. From the Ganesha Purana we have something. Ganesha Sahasranama is from the Ganesha Purana. So all the different shlokas that we chant today, which we commonly chant today rather, they are all from these different Puranas that are there. Or even the Phalashruti, the Srimad Bhagavata Mahatmya that we chant, that is from the Padma Purana. Even the Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya also, there are 2 or 3 Mahatmya, Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya. One is from the Padma Purana, or another one is from the Varaha Purana. So mainly you get a lot of these Mahatmyas or significant texts also from these Puranas, also from the Upapuranas. So this is just a list of Upapuranas that are there. I will share it on the group. Now, not a lot of it doesn't mean that we don't have these books, but not lot of information is there with regards to these Upapuranas. Mainly with regards to the Puranas, we find a lot of information. So today also we have seen majorly about Puranas only.